You're in Copenhagen today?
Yeah, I
How
am.
how is it? I've never been to Copenhagen. How is the weather? What's it like?
Well, today it's sunny and it's semi-warm. Uh, well, actually, considering the time of year, it's not that warm. But but in comparison
Yeah.
to the last couple of months, it's been quite nice today.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's nice.
Okay.
And where are you at?
I'm in Toronto. I guess if the hot docs had been like live, you would have been able to come by and like hang out and check out
That
the
that
city.
would have been great. That
Hmm.
would have been great. Yeah, but sadly, that's not how things are at the moment.
No, it's not. Next
Yeah.
documentary, we'll have you come out for. How about that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
But let's talk about this current documentary. Yo, welcome to my Summer Lair. I'm your host, Sammy. High score Younan. One of the most iconic Superman images, and you'll often see it recreated every Halloween, is Clark Kent ripping open his shirt to reveal the super duper S logo underneath. You can practically hear that Superman theme song from the movie right now, can't you? It feeds into the myth that heroes are all around us, at our work, in our coffee shops, in our churches, but every so often, they suddenly see a dare to be great situation and they're inspired to rip open their shirt to no longer be Clark Kent and to go off and be a super hero. As depicted in the documentary, Kim Cannon Arm is mostly Clark Kent, an unassuming member of Copenhagen society. However, he's going to attempt something superhuman. He's going to play the old school video game Gyruss for 100 hours. Hence the title of Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest, currently playing at Hot Docs Film Festival. The doc's director, Mads Hedegaard, who hails from Copenhagen in Denmark, visited my summer lair to discuss the arcade quest, who Kim Cannon Arm is, and how video games are perceived in Denmark. But first we gotta start with Carsten's mustache. Which, if you haven't seen this doc, yet you've seen the movie Tombstone, then you know what kind of fantastic mustache I'm talking about. Facial hair dictates your fate. The bolder your facial hair, the bolder your fate. So I want to start off with a kind of an odd question. Do you miss Carson's mustache? He shaved it off halfway through the documentary, so
Yeah.
it was a great mustache, and I'm wondering if you missed it as one of his friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do. I still do. I thought it was such a great mustache. So I was so surprised. I couldn't recognize him the first time I saw him without it. And he'd cut his hair as well.
Hmm.
He just looks so different. He looks different in the film, but as I remember it, he looked more different in real life. So I was really surprised, and I thought that the look he was rocking before that, I just loved it. Um,
Yeah, he looked cool. So
yeah,
tell him to grow it back. Um,
yeah, yeah,
but you had a great line for what ended up happening was when he cut it off, and you mentioned the hair as well. The line
yeah,
was to better fit in with all the conformists on the other side of the arcade window.
yeah.
So, how would you describe the nonconformists that are inside the arcade or in the shed in your case?
Well, it's people who are really passionate about what they're doing and what they do, at least in their spare time,
Mm.
is play arcade games, and they're really passionate about that, and they're like they're I guess you could call them geeks or nerds,
Hmm.
uh, and that's okay because they call themselves that with like proudness in their voice, that they're really I think they enjoy their like how they look, and they really enjoy the games they play, and they enjoy that they have a space together, a community that allows them to have a cool mustache or a funny silver mullet or a weird looking beard or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they really enjoy, it's more than enjoy, they really appreciate that community of, and the openness in the community that they've created, that they can be themselves without feeling that they have to blend in or fit in with people looking like you and I, who maybe looks a bit more normal, if if um, if you could put it like that. Um, yeah, so I think that's how they feel about it. Obviously, I might not be the right one to ask, but that's my impression, and that's what they've been telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's interesting. In your documentary, Ken and Arm and the Arcade Quest, you have
Mm-hmm.
some classic American footage of like the fear and the horror of video games from politicians and scientists, and
Right.
even pinball games were illegal in many American cities, even in New York City, for
Yeah.
a long period of time, either because of gambling fears or, as you said, the loner activity, which is the opposite of what you're talking about, which is this community of cool weirdos, right?
Exactly.
So did Denmark have similar fears? I know growing up in North America, that fear was
Mm-hmm.
heavily prevalent, and it was a lot of like video games are going to ruin society kind of things.
Yeah.
We've seen that
Yeah.
with like pot, with rap music, those same kind of fears. Did Denmark have
Right.
similar fears with video games?
Yeah. I think it's the exact same in Denmark back then, especially, but also I think it's still a bit like that now, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's actually why I put it in there. There's a line where one of the psychologists are saying it's such a loner kind of activity, playing arcade games.
Yeah.
And I think to many people today, they think that as well, about people maybe not playing arcade games because that's basically such a niche right now, but playing video games online and stuff like that. I think many have that impression that, oh, they're loners, they're just sitting in their rooms being online all the time, but I think they're failing to understand that the community online is just as tight and good and stuff like that as a community in a physical space. That's my opinion, at least. So yeah, to get back to your question, it was very much like that in Denmark as well back then, and also in the 19s and 5 and 10 years ago. There's been so much talking about how games ruin people's lives, and you get antisocial and stuff like that.
The end of society as we know it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
your documentary is called Ken and Arm and the Arcade Quest. What is the
Mm-hmm.
quest?
Well, the quest is Kim Kananam, who's decided to set out on a journey and try to conquer the world record in marathon arcade gaming. So he wants to play his favorite arcade game, which is Gyruss. He wants to play that for 100 hours straight, and that's really the quest he sets out to try to achieve, or I'm not quite sure if that's correct in English, but
Let's go with it. Yeah, it's fine.
yeah.
So is this a documentary about dreams or is it about hope? Or are those the same thing?
That's a good question, actually. I guess it's more or less the same thing. It's I would say the documentary is about dreams and the hope to achieve those dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and what it takes to and the guts it takes to follow a dream that might be like playing for 100 hours
Mm-hmm.
consecutively is crazy, but nevertheless he tries to do it and sets out and is determined to do it, and the same goes for his friends in the film as well, because that they're an integral part not only of the film but also the record attempt in itself, because he might be the one standing at the machine, but playing for all of those hours, but he wouldn't be able to make it past 12 hours if he didn't have those guys around to help him out and support him and motivate him and set out strategies beforehand and stuff like that. So it's just as much their record attempt as it is Kim Cannonham's.
Yeah, and give him toast. Don't forget to give him toast.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Exactly.
and what you're talking about too, with terms of like the guts, and
Hmm.
like having the courage to basically do this. In the
Right.
doc, you are the narrator, and you say that we all need heroes. You
Yeah.
actually even played the song from Footloose, "Holding Out for a Hero," throughout the
Yeah.
documentary a couple of times. So,
Mhm.
what makes Kim Cannon Arm your hero?
His humbleness, I think. First of all, I really love that he sets out to achieve such a crazy thing as this, and he's so humble about it. So that's one thing, but also his persistence of because he's tried to achieve this goal before,
Mm-hmm.
and he just doesn't give up. And that goes for his arcade game playing as well, because he started way back, like in the late 70s. He started playing arcade games, and he's never stopped,
Mm-hmm.
even though it went out of fashion, and everyone got their PCs and PlayStations and what have you. He just kept on playing the games that he loved, and it didn't um like he enjoyed that, and decided that I'm not gonna switch just because the fashion changes. I'm gonna keep doing what I enjoy, and I really appreciate that, and I think that's a huge thing to do.
And speaking of appreciation, you had another great line as the narrator. You said
Hmm.
all the superhero movies may be due to a lack of superheroes in real life.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? What did you mean exactly?
Mm, I think in our modern lives, I think we're being bombarded with so much information, and that's not, I'm not opposed to that, but I think it's a fact of life that we're just being bombarded, like news channels, 24-hour news channels, and obviously the internet with
Mm-hmm.
all of those opportunities, and smartphones and what have you. We're just bombarded all the time,
Yeah.
and I think that makes it difficult to focus on one thing or one person, and I think it makes us a bit more fragmented in our attention span, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have a tendency to forget that we really need to focus on one thing, and just being present, basically. Um, and and that, I think, that makes it difficult to for heroes to exist in real life, if that makes sense, because I think there's what's it called, it's called um, yeah, I can't remember the word right now, but it needs a bit of focus or a lot of focus to.
Concentration?
Yeah, exactly. And I think we lack that in modern lives. So we're just all like we're onto the next, onto the next, onto the next.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to appreciate acts of heroism, you can't do that if you're constantly moving and constantly trying to on the lookout for the next new thing or whatever.
Yeah. You can't multitask and save Thanos at the same or defeat Thanos at the same time.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite superhero movie? It could be the Marvel ones, it could be DC, any of them. Do you have a favorite superhero movie?
Um, like from the Marvel universe, I really like the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I That's my favorite. I haven't seen them all, but
That's a good one. It's a lot of fun.
yeah, it is. But I think my favorite movie, superhero character is Batman actually. So that's DC,
Mm-hmm.
but I really like
That counts.
the no, sorry.
That counts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the Nolan films, but I really liked Batman before the Nolan films. Like I really enjoyed the comics and the cartoons and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And then keeping with the idea of like Batman has a community. Obviously, he has Robin, he has Batgirl, he has other characters with him. I want to
Mhm.
focus on your documentary in Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest. Kim
Mhm.
Cannon Arm, he has a tribe who hosts strategy meetings. They would have over
Yeah,
drinks, right? They would determine the best way to kind of help him
yeah,
succeed. And you alluded to this already, where like
yeah.
they're like maybe we give him caffeine pills, licorice pipes, like
Right,
similar things
right.
to like figure out how we could play a video game for 100 hours. Did they do
Yeah.
something similar for you for your film? Did they kind of help give you strategy film or strategy meetings and kind of give you feedback, anything like that as you were filming?
Like for me personally,
Yeah.
or um, um, no, I don't think so. I talked to them about how a record attempt usually because Kim has tried it before,
Mm-hmm.
and so obviously I talked to them about okay, how does this work? This whole thing, how do I go about it? So it wasn't like meetings, but it was more like in talks, and they told me about how it went the other times they'd done it in the past. So I got some tricks and some good advice, but not in the same way as they do in the film, where they're like really strategizing and almost planning a heist.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
You've said this already, but I'm surprised that like you're not a video game or not a video gamer or not as into video games as much as your friends and that community that you filmed, because
Right.
didn't before you were a director you wanted to be a stuntman? Isn't kind of like video games the same type of danger?
That's a very good question. Uh, wow, I haven't thought of that because yeah, I wanted to be a stuntman when I was a kid. Um, yeah, I don't know if that's the same as playing video games. I've never thought about it that way, to be honest. Maybe it is. Um, Maybe it is. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a very, very good question.
All right. Well, I'll leave that, and then I'll talk about your previous movie, which was a short called Skull Fracture. Or
Yeah.
aren't you rather young to be writing about memoirs? And that short also dealt with memories and community. It was a lot of family members.
Mhm.
Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest echoes similar themes. What is it about memory that you find fascinating and like worth exploring?
Well, I think mm, I think I've always been fascinated by and driven by like um, uh, philosophy and ideas and stuff like that, and that was what actually started the skull fracture film. Was I was I was thinking about memories, and then wow, that's pretty heavy and dry. So 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 I decided to explore it in a way in a film, and see what memory is, or at least try to make that experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was where the interest came from, and then I just found it very interesting working on that film with the whole memory thing. So I think it's just a very like a personal interest of mine, and I thought it fit very well into the Canon and the Arcade Quest film as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to continue the exploration in a very different setting with some very different characters.
Yeah, both of them are like talking in a weird way about leaving your mark on the universe, right? In
Yeah,
Skull Fracture, it was like a short note in a library book, I think it was, that you took out. And in
yeah,
like Cannon Arm, obviously, which is video games, the basic one is everyone who gets the high score gets to leave their 3 initials, right? On
yeah,
our arcade game. So it's
true.
like, it's interesting that you're like focus on this idea of like how we make a mark in this universe. And then the hope and the dream that we have the ability to do that in different ways. In Kim
Mm-hmm.
Cannon Arm's case is obviously playing like a video game for 100 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I think to me that's it's Kim playing for 100 hours and setting that record and breaking the old one and stuff like that. That's like the very concrete part of it, and very little part of it, and then there's the whole, how do we leave our marks in other people, and how do we I can't remember the exact line in the film, even though I wrote it myself. But I'm talking about how you the best. I can't remember it now. Like how the best way to leave a mark is by leaving someone missing you.
Yeah, I remember the line.
Yeah, yeah. That's not the correct line, but something to that effect. And I think that's the main thing of the whole thing, like the whole film, and leaving a mark on other people, having people appreciate you as who you are, no matter how you are. So when you're gone, people will, if they do miss you, if if there's a longing in them after you're away, after you've gone, and that doesn't mean necessarily dead, but also like old friends or anything like that, then you've left a mark in another human being, and I think that's the most important thing. If it obviously it could be a very bad mark, but I'm talking about it in a positive way.
Yeah, let's focus on the positivity.
Yeah.
So Canon Arm and the Arcade Quest is playing at Hot Docs, and I know this is just coming out, but what do you have planned after this? Are you going to work on a feature, or?
Yeah. At the moment, I'm working on a feature film, and I'm working on a feature-length documentary as well. But that one, the documentary one, is kind of secret, so I'm not allowed to to talk about that.
Okay.
So the feature I'm working on will hopefully go into production late this year. And it's a thriller set in the Stone Age. Yep. So a very modern film set in the Stone Age, 6,000 years ago. Yeah, that's.
Right. You did mention like the Nolan Batman movies. I guess that's some of the Nolan influence, right? You like to do something ambitious and kind of a thriller.
I haven't thought about that, but that's probably very true.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. You got a few things to think about. So yeah, Cannon Arm and the
Yeah.
Arcade Quest is playing at Hot Docs.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for taking the time to like hang out and talk about these cool weirdos. We talked about Batman. We talked
Mhm.
about your community and
Mhm.
leaving a mark on the universe. We covered quite a bit, I think. Oh, and
Yeah.
Carson's mustache. I forgot. We talked about that at the beginning.
Yeah. True. True. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you for taking your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Have a good day in Copenhagen. Yo, that conversation with director Mads Hedegaard about his documentary Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest was fascinating for two reasons. One, to hear that Denmark has similar ungrounded and irrational fears of video games as we do. What? I grew up in North America, and our moral panics, from like weed to rap music to comic books seducing the innocent, they all tend to be stifling and deeply insular. This wasn't the case with video games. It turned out to be a popular and global moral panic. I didn't know. And the second reason is community. Kim Cannon Arm's community is fantastic. It's a legit tribe and a highlight of the documentary. They love him, support him, and adore him. Like, they uplift him. Any dreams in this life are only worth achieving with your tribe or for your tribe. The people who got your back, because an arcade quest is long and it's not always smooth. I don't know why the criticism of video games is being a loner. That's so far from the truth. And speaking of the truth, what's the statute of limitations on coin fishing? Nothing I did per se, but I sure benefited from it. Back in the days of my reckless youth, there was a quick stop convenience store, a kind of quickie mart behind our high school. They had an Indiana Jones pinball machine, which is still one of the greatest pinball machines of all time. It's the GOAT of pinball machines. They had NBA Jam, along with Mortal Kombat, and of course the classic Street Fighter 2. In hindsight, I probably violated a number of loitering rules as well. Somebody in our gang, it felt like a gang, we were a bunch of loud, sarcastic punks. I mean, if we're going to be honest with each other here, we couldn't be cool if we went out on a fall day without a jacket. But still, somebody in our gang had the X-Men mutant ability to coin fish. This is when you tape a long string to a quarter or loop a string through a small hole in a quarter. You lower the quarter into the slot ever so gently, like an all black dressed Tom Cruise in the first Mission Impossible movie. Don't make a sound. And in the slot that receives the quarter, you deftly flick up your wrist, dunk the quarter like a chicken nugget in barbecue sauce. You do this enough times, you can fool the machine into 50 free plays for the price of one quarter. Now that's a good deal. It's incredible how simple the 90s seemed. If you have a chance, check out this doc playing at Hot Docs. Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest. I'm sure other festivals coming up will probably be hosting it as well. In the meantime, reach out to me and tell me what your favorite old school video game was. I'm willing to accept pinball games as well. Let me know at My Summer Lair. You can let me know at My Summer Lair on IG, My Summer Lair on Twitter, and My Summer Lair on Facebook. What's your favorite old school video game? Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me in a Pac-Man world. Tara, yo.